Good afternoon. I'm Steve Basnick, and along with Aaron Marsden, I would like to welcome everyone on behalf of CANASA and Security Canada to our weekly online learning session. While many are stuck at home, we thought this would be a good time to deliver some product and service knowledge that will be beneficial when we're all back to work. I would like to say a special thank you to TOA for their support and sponsoring today's session. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Don Angus, Regional Sales Manager, Ontario West for TOA. Don has been involved in the AV market for over 13 years in a few different roles. He started his career with an integrator selling equipment to retail, hospitality, and restaurants, focusing on background music systems, working extensively with TOA products. Don joined TOA Canada 5 years ago to manage the province of Ontario. He now delivers audio solutions specializing in PA, IP intercom, and emergency announcements. Feel free to type any questions you may have for Don during the session into the chat window, and Don will respond during the Q&A portion roughly 20 minutes from now. I'll now turn the session over to Don. Welcome, Don, and thanks for being here.
Thanks very much, Steve. I appreciate it. It's as you said, this is a great way to use our time. We're all stuck at home, or a lot of us are, and this is a great way to communicate and share information. So thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank everybody for their time that's connected. I'm here to talk to you a bit about TOA, the company, as well as some intercom products that they share, the IP line that we have, as well as the SIP intercom line as well, and to talk about the benefits of using them and perhaps suggest something that you hadn't thought of before or didn't know that they were able to do. So let's do that. So if you're not familiar with TOA, they've been around for a long time. TOA was founded in 1934. They're still based in Kobe, Japan. They are a global company. They sell in over 120 countries around the world. There's 31 different sales and production bases and employing over 3,000 people. In Canada, the Canadian office was established in 1990, so this is our 30th year. And we are based in Mississauga, the Canadian headquarters. For the longest time, we were on Kennedy Road in Mississauga, but recently we've moved to Eglinton 9th Line area, if you're familiar with Mississauga at all, the west side. We also ship from that location. So if, there's no need to think about worrying about drawing out of the US or duty or anything like that. We stock all of our regular items in Mississauga and we ship from there. And also there too is our technical team, and they'll be able to provide support if you have any questions about product, questions about install. Perhaps you're interested in having us put something together, a design for you. We can certainly do that free of charge. And we can help you to get an idea of what this upcoming project is going to look like that you're working on. So for the last 35 years, TOA has been in the intercom business. There have been a number of different model lines. Our current IP intercom system is the N8000. This system is highly reliable, and I'll just say TOA has a reputation, that is their reputation, for quality, for reliability. They're very proud of that reputation and are very keen on keeping it. And I know that when I was using TOA products prior to working with them, I knew I was using them for a reason, and that's because they were rock solid, and I could rely on them, and they would last, well, forever, to be honest. And the same goes for their IP intercom line of products. Very reliable, but also very flexible. And you can use them for many different applications. And another great part about them is that they're cost effective. One of the ways that they're cost effective is by being flexible with the wiring that they use. So if you have a project where a customer would like to bring TOA Intercom into their facility, they have an existing intercom system, but it may be 4-wire or twisted pair. Not to worry, we can use that wire. As long as the wire is in good condition, we can utilize that. I had a good experience with a downtown office building and that was the situation. They had some TOA in their building, but they had also over the years installed different competitors' products in different parts just for that local area. And finally, the security team had enough and they wanted to standardize on TOA just so it would be easier for them, and this made more sense. But that was the issue. They had different wiring configurations. So what we were able to do is put together a design for them and utilize the existing wire. And so this was a big savings for them. And labor, cable, as you can imagine, pulling new cable is such a pain. So if it's there, we can use it. Then moving forward, we were going to use IP stations moving forward. So we created for them a hybrid IP system, and they were very happy with it. We can integrate easily with access control, with your surveillance, your customer surveillance system, even their paging system, even background music if that's what they wanted. Long-term cost effectiveness, there's no license to operate TOA Intercom. So that's a recurring fee that you don't have to worry about. I already spoke about the cabling. The software for the intercom is also free. And it's an open-ended architecture, meaning because we're going to touch on scalabilities, but because it's open-ended, you don't have to start again with a new head end and so forth. You can continue to build if that's what's required. So there is a lot of ways that you can save the customer money. Scalability, as I mentioned, it could be as simple as a door station and a master station, perhaps to open the door for visitors to your company, or it could be a very large system. We can accommodate up to over 3,000 stations in a system. So it's very, as I said, very flexible, and you're able to really use it for unique situations. It's easy to install. We offer a certification, a 2-day certification course for your technicians. When they get that, it's even easier. That training's a lot about programming, and once they have a handle on that, it's very, very easy. The software, when it comes to maintenance, it has an application for system status, for monitoring that system, for troubleshooting, and even system updates later on. Very user-friendly. Borderless communications, obviously, if the customer has 2 locations, one here and one at the other side of Canada, or one in the States, using IP, they're able to communicate and not have to worry about phone bills and so forth. And we can integrate, as I said, easily with other features of that may be existing or that they want to include later on, like emergency announcement. A lot of features that we can provide. Here's some key functions of the N8000 system. This is very popular, and I mentioned this already. Remote control, so access control. You can see here in this diagram, there's an N8640DS IP door station at the front door. When they push that, that generates a call to the N8000 master station. Maybe that's at reception, and they can answer that call and decide if they want to let that person in, and with the push of a button, trigger the door latch and allow that person to gain access to the office. That's quite popular, and it can be that small. It's very effective. This is an aspect that's very for security. It's a big help for them. And I was just thinking about maybe campus security or something like that. In the software, you are able to program so that the door stations enter a monitoring mode where they are triggered by loud noises. a scream, a fright breaks out, a car accident, whatever it happens to be, that loud noise will trigger the door station to call the security station, and the security team will be able to respond to that. So for large campuses where security guards just can't be everywhere, this is a great feature. Paging. Perhaps the customer would like to be able to utilize their existing paging system. Well, now with the N8000, you can see that there's an interface box. There's a number of black boxes in these key function diagrams. These are all different interface boxes. And with our N8000 AF, we're able to connect, send audio out of the intercom system to an existing 70 volts paging system. And that way you can page not only throughout the intercom system, but also universally throughout the facility. And the same is true of background music. If the customer would like background music throughout the facility, you can see that there's a sound source connected to another interface box, and we're able to distribute music throughout the facility. So we have the IP intercom, our N8000, but recently we've just come up with our NSP AD SIP Intercom product line. This is our product line here, our master station with video and audio stations. So let's take a look at what they feature. The N8000, or pardon me, the NSP AD Multimedia Station is flexible because it offers audio and video communications using both SIP and ONVIF, something that makes it very flexible to use and very easy to integrate with surveillance or otherwise. It has a 7-inch touch screen that's Android based, which makes it easy to customize, maybe quick buttons and the ability to, whatever you choose to have on the screen, you can make that happen. It's compatible with major video codecs. You can use a supplied AC adapter to plug it in locally, or you can use PoE. It has an address book that can contain up to 3,000 addresses, so you're able to use that to your advantage. The video station and the audio station both have built-in acoustic echo cancellation. And so what this does is that it enables what we call a full duplex communication. But really what that is just like a telephone call. Because it has that echo cancellation, you can easily communicate back and forth with the person at the door and the person at the security desk. The video station has a sensor to accommodate brightness. Sometimes if it's outside in the dark and someone opens the door, fills with light, the camera can adjust to that easily. As well, there are LEDs that help accommodate viewing in dark environments, viewing the people who are calling. The resolution is up to 1080p as well. And both stations also feature an anti-vandal function. So if somebody's smashing the intercom or trying to pry it out of its surface mount box, the stations will detect that and send an emergency call to the master station so that security will know that that's happening. Yeah, because it's SIP, it's obviously compatible with a number of SIP servers like Cisco, Asterisk, Genetec, Sipelia software. So you're able to very simply, as you can see, connect the NSP AD to the existing SIP server. It becomes an extension of that. And you can have as many master stations or door stations as you need in that system. However, it doesn't have to be that way. You can also utilize a separate local network and just have them in peer-to-peer communication. Actually, we have this. This is what we use at our office. Reception has a master station. The shipping and receiving manager has the master station, and they can see people at the entrances. They're able to trigger door locks, etc. So it does, just because it works with a SIP server doesn't mean it has to. And there's some examples here that we have of that. Here's a SIP server example in a retail setting. You can see that there is a hub connected to the SIP server, and to that hub is connected the NSP AD equipment. You'll see there's also a laptop computer there. The setting software is available via browser. So when you're doing the initial setup, you could connect to that hub and with the browser set up the intercom stations that way. But you'll notice that that hub, there's another hub connected there, and that's connected to our SP11N SIP module. For the longest time, old analog phone systems and paging systems work together with a 600 ohm output. You could connect them and make pages, but then as people are slowly switching to VoIP, that's not so easy. The SP11N is our bridge for that. That's our bridge, and you can connect now SIP systems so that you can make pages, for instance, here in a grocery store, all from the master station. So that is possible. But it's also possible to do this in a peer-to-peer example. Here it is here. You do not need a SIP server in order to accomplish the same thing. With a local network, the NSP AD equipment and the SP11N can work together and provide the same effect and be able to page throughout the facility. So we have the N8000, we have the NSP AD. The N8000 communicates using proprietary packet technology. That's how it transmits the audio through the network. Well, the NSP AD uses the SIP protocol, but the two weren't able to communicate. And so what they came up with was a SIP gateway software. And you can see here in this example how it's being utilized. There's the SIP server. And with this local network on the left, you can see that the NSP AD equipment's there. There's a laptop at the top of the screen. That is the PC that will be running the gateway software. And you can see that then utilizing that gateway software, you're also able to connect to the right with that other network that has all of the different N8000 equipment available. So with this, the NSP AD master station on the left can make pages through the paging system at the top right. That paging system was connected through the N8000 system, but because of this software working, there's that back and forth. That's what we touch on in this next slide, where it's helping us to appreciate that there's that back and forth. The features, for instance, you can call and transfer calls from the N8000 side to the SIP and vice versa. There's a paging function, so both sides can page into the other areas. Door remote control, so if I wanted to open a door that was connected with an N8000 station, such as those listed, the 8050DS or the 8640DS, I can still do that. There are 5 simultaneous communication channels available. So what that means is you can have 5 concurrent conversations happening in the system. You can have 3 conversations and 1 opening the door, and so you have 5 paths for communicating. And when you combine the SIP server and the N8000 and the NSP AD, and then you integrate it with all the different areas that we've already discussed, you can have a really outstanding emergency announcement system, paging system, but a fantastic communication throughout the facility. And really, I can't really think of any facility. There are so many that need intercom. This is a vertical that I don't think that has a ceiling. There are so many places that require it to have that communication. It goes without saying, educational facilities, but I was also thinking, you know, parking lots just for safety, hospitals, retail, warehouses, manufacturing, goes on and on and on. The need for emergency announcement is growing. The need to lock down places is also important, and so you need that communication outside to inside. So there are many, many endless places where intercom can go. Here's a few. So education. It could be kindergarten through grade 12, or it could be post-secondary, university, college. I know with my kids' schools, well, let me backtrack. Since I was a kid, there's always been intercom in classrooms to be able to talk to the office. There's always been public address so that announcements could be made. Now with my kids' schools, of course, the schools are locked down. There's only one primary entrance that visitors can enter, and there's usually a video intercom there. So this diagram that we're showing you is how a school could be set up, and you can see how the different systems complement each other. So here's a parent on the far left coming to pick up their child from school. They've buzzed the intercom. Their face appears on the master station in the office. They let that parent in, and then they disconnect that call and then call into the school system, the N8000 system, because they're using the N8000 gateway software. They're able to call Johnny, make sure, hey, your dad's here, come on down. And they're also able to make general pages throughout, not just specifically to a classroom. You'll see there's also an interface box that takes care of bell schedules as well. So N8000 has a full complement of equipment for a fantastic intercom and PA system in a school. And then if you add the NSP AD, it just ups the security level. So you're able to have emergency notifications, you're able to have public address, everything that a school would need for communication. Now, in a commercial setting, commercial buildings are tough because there's multiple entrances. There's a parking lot that they may have to look after. They may have to have the ability to broadcast messages, broadcast emergency messages. So there's a lot happening in a large building. And not only that, in commercial cases, sometimes on the same area, there are multiple buildings. So if in this situation, there was a new office building, there is also, you can see at the bottom left, there's a manufacturing plant that already has N8000 equipment in it. So their security center, which is running with Genetec software, has decided to go with the NSP AD to take care of all the entrance, the parking lots, the elevators, the front entrance. They're also able to communicate with the N8000 SIP gateway to the manufacturing areas, open doors, and broadcast everywhere. So that's something that helps to make it just an overall well-rounded system. Hospitals are even more interesting because they're a commercial building, but they often need within the building separate areas that need to be cordoned off and have their own security. For instance, we have worked with just recently with Sick Kids Hospital in downtown Toronto, and they required their pharmacy. You may notice this in hospitals. You can look for it as you go forward after this, but there's different areas in a hospital that require their own intercom system. And we were working with a pharmacy there. And the reason the pharmacy needed it is the pharmacy included different clean rooms. So of course they need to watch over who comes in, how many people come in, and so forth, to make sure that the clean room stays a clean room. And we were able to provide an N8000 system. We actually have a wall-mounted master station that has a film on the front of it that allows it to be cleaned with really strong cleansers that they use in hospitals and not be affected because they have that film on there. And actually those stations could also operate hands-free, and they can actually initiate a call. There's actually a foot switch that you could add so that they don't have to use their hands at all. And they can call outwards, but people at the elevator lobby could call in and identify themselves, and then they could determine if those people were going to come in or not. So hospitals, they have all the aspects of commercial, but much more. They're very unique. Perhaps even different rooms where they're working with people in, I'm trying to think, like CAT scan rooms and so forth. Intercoms need to be there. So it's a lot of areas in a hospital that require intercom. This is something that we were thinking about, and we came up with a a mock-up of this. Because of COVID, people are very conscious of what they're touching, and they would be, I think your customer would really appreciate this idea. Because the video station has dry contacts that not only help with opening a door, they also have contacts that would allow a wave sensor to connect. So this one here, I believe, is an ASSA ABLOY product, but there's a lot of companies out there like Camden, can't think of any more off the top of my head, that have these different wave sensor switches. So wouldn't your customer, that would be a big selling point. You know, they don't even have to press the button to make a call to the security desk who can open the door for them. They just have to wave in front of it. Just a thought, but this is something that the NSP AD is able to do. Finally, this is something that has just come out this month for both Android and Apple. It is our NSP AD mobile app. And if you're working with schools, I've spoken with, in the last 6 months, I've spoken with a bunch of different school boards. And if you're going to be putting in a video intercom at their front door, an app is a must, because they're not in the office all the time. If a parent's at the front door, they want to be able to answer that parent right away. So to be able to have this app on their phone, it's like a remote master station. They're able to see, for instance, here's a delivery person who's arrived, and you have a couple of options here. You can talk to them, first of all, which is great. You have the option of unlocking the door, which is great too. But you also have the idea, do you see the button on the left? It's capture. You can actually capture this image and save it so that you can have a running record of who's coming and going. And I think that's really, in a school, that's a big plus. And so there's that feature. Plus, you can also monitor. You'll see the picture on the right. That's actually a picture of the shipping area at our office. Our shipping and receiving manager likes this because he can see trucks approaching. He can see who that's, okay, so this is Purelator. Okay, I have the Purelator stuff's ready to go. So he knows Purelator's approaching. He can see when they come in, the drivers can call him. He's able to unlock the door, you know, so forth. So it's an excellent tool for just those two applications, but you can see the benefit of that. If there's a security guard who is roving, he's not at his desk, but he can see that there's a delivery guy at the back door. He can see who it is and let him in, even though he's not at the security desk. So it's a big plus. There's a lot of thought that went into apps. Everybody uses apps. We're all very familiar with them. So we wanted to make sure that the interface was intuitive, that you can just get up and start running with it right away. It's not a hassle to understand, and so forth. So we just made the buttons here that were very common. You can see in the contacts for my office, for instance, we actually do have a back door station, a door phone station, and then we were using an iPad and a Samsung tablet as well. We could call both of those. So it's very easy to use, and you can get up and running with it, and there's no problems there. So I want to thank you for your time. If you are interested at all in possibly, if you have questions, if you have extended questions that you want to talk about, please feel free to email us at the email below there. The website, TOACanada.com, has a lot of spec sheets, brochures, links to YouTube. So if you were wanting to present some information to your customer, that is all available for download. Plus, if you wanted to speak to someone about design, perhaps you have a system that you can't wrap your head around, or you want to see if TOA has the right equipment for the job, feel free to email us as well about that. We provide design free of charge, and not only for intercom, but for audio systems as well. Please feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. That was great. If anyone has any questions, please type them into your Q&A window now. First question for Don. What
I'll
access
try my
control-
best, by the way. I don't know. We'll see.
I'll try my best to read them
Oh my
properly.
God, the stress of it. Okay, go ahead.
What access control or VMS platforms do you integrate with?
Oh boy, that's a great question. You know what, I'd have to, can you please email us? Because I do have a list of what we're compatible with. The Genetec Sipelia right off the bat comes to mind, but please email me about that and I can send you that information. Sorry, I don't have that off the top of my head.
Okay, next question. Are there any Wi-Fi devices available?
Yes, so the master station can be used with Wi-Fi. Actually, that 7-inch touch screen, you can actually browse from it when you connect to the local Wi-Fi. So yes, and we actually do. That's part of our setup at the head office. That most are wired, but we do have some connections through Wi-Fi. So short answer, yes.
Great. Where can we get A&E specifications and MSRP pricing?
The specs are all on the website. You'll notice that there'll be spec sheets and so forth. If you don't find what you need, if you need something very specific, please contact us because I do have a data library at my disposal for for all of our products, so I can help you with that. MSRP pricing, you could contact us on MSRP and we can put you in touch with a local dealer or a distributor.
Great. Next one, did you say the app is available on Android and Apple?
Yes, yes it is. It's within the last few weeks, it's available for both.
Great, and looks like our last question, how difficult would it be to integrate the SIP Intercom with our already installed N8000 system?
Not at all, not hard at all. As long as you have the N8000 gateway, that's what translates to make them talk the same language. As I mentioned, N8000 speaks one, the NSP AD speaks another, but with the gateway software, it is doable for sure.
Excellent. Well, looks sorry, caught in a lie here. We just had a bunch of other questions drop in. So we'll try to get to them real quick. Is there a door video station that is vandal proof and can be mounted externally on a mullion door frame?
Yes, actually, you can. The video station that we have is vandal proof. And I do have a surface mount box, something that I did not mention. I have a flush mount box. It's a 4-gang box, and it's either for flush mounting indoor. I also have a surface mount that is heated that can go outside. And so you could mount it to the mullion that you were talking about.
Great, thank you. What kind of products do you have on video panel that will support the intercom with unlock features?
What's the question again? Tell me again.
What kind of products do you have on video panel that will support the intercom with unlock features?
On video panel.
I can always send you the email on that one if you want to respond.
Yeah,
later.
if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Is the SP80 can use as a desk phone with 3CX PBX?
Yes.
Okay, and is there some speed dial buttons to integrate with PBX?
Yes. Yes, there are. And you can actually make speed dial buttons on the touch screen if you wanted to, but yes, there is.
Excellent. Okay, and this one, for real, the last one. What TOA platform is the new mobile app compatible with?
Sorry, I missed that part. What's it again?
What TOA platform is the new mobile app compatible with?
With the NSP AD. With the NSP AD SIP Intercom. That's what it works with. So if you're going to install it in a school or something with that video station, that's what it works with.
Great, thank you, Don. That's all the questions. And for those that we weren't able to get to, we'll make sure we get those over to Don and he can get back to you shortly.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you for joining us. And once again, thank you to Don Angus and TOA for their support. At the close of this session, a link to register for next week's session will pop up. Please be sure to register. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, be well.